Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1244 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Even though Dell already opened his can of Canuck Pale Ale and didn't wait to pop it on the mic. But we'll talk about that. Great Lakes is a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Season 4 of Yes We Are Open, the award-winning podcast from Moneris, hosted by FOTM Al Grego. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Moment Lab. Brand marketing and strategy, PR, advertising, and production. You need The Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, making his Toronto Mic debut, is Dell Barber. Welcome, Dell.
Well, thank you for having me, Mike.
You, my friend, have come a very long way. You are I'm going to try to say this. I noticed I messed up the word brewery in my intro. I've only said that like 1,000 times. But can I say the word rural? Yes. Okay, you're from rural Manitoba.
Yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's more horses than there are cows in my town, and than there are people in my town, and more cows than there are horses. You know, I live in the middle of nowhere, and you're welcome to come anytime. Anybody listening, if you're passing through and you don't mind mosquitoes, stop in my yard, and I'd put you up for the night, no problem.
You got big mosquitoes in what's the name of this town?
Inglis, Manitoba. We're famous for grain elevators. We have 5 prairie giants. They're a National Historic Site.
Well, at least you're famous for something. You know how many cities or towns in this country are famous for absolutely nothing?
I mean, I'm using fame as loosely as it could be used, so, you know.
There's some great artists in Winnipeg. I feel like shouting out some great Winnipeg. Yeah. And I know you're not Winnipeg, but...
Oh, I cut my teeth in Winnipeg. I grew up South Winnipeg. All my first house was in Winnipeg. I'm like, you know, big part of me is in Winnipeg.
So a big part of you in Winnipeg. I recently had a week where I had back-to-back. I had Crash Test Dummies and The Watchmen.
Nice.
The bands on back-to-back.
Yeah.
And that week I was jokingly referring to myself as Winnipeg Mike. But you're here. And there's another great Winnipegger I want to shout out before we learn more about you and play music. But there's a great Winnipegger who's been over here twice, and he let me wear his hat.
Make me a pie to start the day. Only you can make it in your special way. Crust so flaky it can make me cry. Great Grandma Saskatoon berry pie. Great Grandma Saskatoon berry pie. Give me a pie after lunch.
Name that artist, Del.
Fred Penner.
I love Fred Penner.
So do I. People need to know the type of person that Fred Penner is. He is the most generous man, kindest. When I was cutting my teeth, I would be starstruck when I'd see him at cafes in Winnipeg and bars and stuff.
Sure.
And he would always encourage me. He was a fan from the start for me. He was one of those guys that was in my corner. You know?
Are you involved at all with this fantastic Saskatoon berry pie jam that I'm kicking out right here?
Involved with the pie? Yeah, I become that pie
You bake
in the fall.
pie.
Yeah, and by the time fall hits, we're eating Saskatoons. That's pretty much it. Just a steady dose of those tiny little blueberry things with seeds. And for some reason, we think they're better than blueberries, probably because they grow where we live. That's probably why we think they're better.
My firstborn, who's 21 now, we used to watch a show on Wide TV called Tippy Tales, Tipi Tales. And all the music was written by Fred Penner. And this song, not this version, not the style, but this song appeared on that show. Like I knew Saskatoon berry pie from Tippy Tales. Fun fact, did you ever record with Fred Penner, Mr. Barber?
Oh, no, never had that opportunity. Not yet.
Well, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, my career's still young, so hopefully I'll get a chance to wrangle some microphones with that guy.
Now, I've loaded up a number of jams that will kind of help us talk about your career, like how it all started for you, where you're at. Like, we're going to learn so much about Del Barber. Shout out to Chris Cooksey, who's eagerly tuning into this episode because he wants to learn more about Del Barber. But I just want to let everybody know who's listening that there is a third person in this room. It sounds spooky when you say it like that. There's a third person in the room. Shout out to FOTM Jason Schneider, who said he's not going to speak on this episode, but you're in the room, Jason, for the record, right?
Yes, I'm here.
And Jason, it's funny. Jason cracked open first thing he did. I think he just comes over for the Great Lakes beer, but he popped open a beer, and I'm like, Jason, we popped that on the mic. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." He didn't remember. But then Del was, I said, "Let me get you a cold one from the fridge, Del. We're gonna pop it on the mic." And then right away he pops it like reflex action. So you didn't pop yours on the mic either, Del.
You hand a prairie kid a cold can of beer and it's staring at him, and and he's been up till 3 a.m. driving from Hamilton to Toronto, and
wow.
And then he gets this fancy publicist that picks him up at his place of residence in Toronto, and then he comes to this fancy podcast studio.
Super fancy.
And then what am I supposed to do but crack the beer? I feel like it's not my fault. I feel like you should take some of the blame for this.
It's entrapment.
Yeah, that's right.
It's entrapment. Yeah, you can't.
I'm calling my lawyer.
You should. It's like leaving your trunk open with like a new iPhones in the trunk, and you leave it. That's not fair. So I am gonna crack mine on the mic.
Oh, that sounded good.
How is your Great Lakes beer, Del?
Very delicious. I'm a fan of this brewery, and for some reason it sounded funny when I said brewery as well.
It's a tough word, man. I know you sing for a living, but don't put brewery in your lyrics because you'll fuck it up.
Yeah, I will. Yep.
You're a hockey guy, right? You a hockey fan?
Yeah, big time.
So you guys are down 3-1 Jets.
Yeah.
And you're a Jets fan, I take it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the Winnipeg Jets.
The tone of rooting for us sounded sort of reluctant.
Well, listen, I'm a Leafs fan, so I haven't seen the second round since 2004. So
I know
I don't judge any fan base.
We hear about you crying on our national sports networks. We would like to think that there are other teams in Canada that play hockey too. And so the first round thing. It's hard not to smile when that happens if you're from the prairies. But I do love your team right now, and I've been.
Is that true? Are you? Because I feel like Winnipeggers maybe don't like Toronto. Like I got a vibe there.
You know what's annoying?
You love to hate Toronto.
You know what's annoying? Going to a Jets game when they're playing the Leafs. You know why? Because there's so many Leafs jerseys in the fucking stands. I got to put up with these guys cheering for Toronto in my hometown. Like it's hard to take. So that's part of it. Also, like. It is great. You got a great hockey club.
This is a great. I mean, yeah. I can acknowledge that this is a very entertaining hockey team we have. And tonight, if all goes well, so that's why I'm cracking this beer open early here because I'm going to be watching Game 5 in Toronto. I'm not at the game. I'm going to be watching on my TV. I can't afford to get to that game. Somebody should gift Toronto Mike tickets and send me to the game. But I'm looking forward to seeing something I haven't witnessed since 2004. A series clinching win. That happens tonight, Del. And I hope you guys come back from your 3-1 deficit. But don't put any money on it. That's unlikely to happen. But exciting times, right?
Hey, I'm really happy we made the playoffs, and it's cool to see a city erupt with playoff hockey. And I'm sure Toronto's no different. I'm sure it's wild in the streets. Tonight's going to be a party for you guys. So.
Well, we forget what we're supposed to do, but we did have a NBA championship in 2019, so some people can still remember that blueprint. But there's great Leaf fans who can't remember. What do we do? What do we do after we win a series? Do we honk our horns? Do we hit the streets? Like, what is the protocol? We're gonna find out tonight.
Well, I lived in Chicago before the Cubs won, and I felt that pain. I learned to be a fan of that baseball club before they had any hope of becoming great.
Ryan Sandberg, but you're not old enough for Ryan Sandberg, are you? No. You're too young.
No.
How old are you?
39.
Okay, yeah. You might have caught the end of the Ryan Sandberg years, but you're a young man. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning here, and I'm going to just play a song to get us started, actually. So I want to let people hear right off the bat. I want people to hear some Del Barber, because you, my friend, and I don't say this to all my guests, Jason can vouch for this. Sometimes I just say nothing if I'm not a big fan, but you are very talented. This is some gorgeous music. Let's start with something earlier in your career.
slip into another back alley conversation. You and I are riding on a river of concrete. If you had some advice, then I might have ears to listen. Have been a friend, a great city. Tonight, night for walking. Lovely little song of gray, cloudy thinking. Street lights awake and waiting for morning. Can hear the old sound of lonely ringing. It's on your doorstep, waiting patiently. It's from the basement, Chicago, to the ocean, prairie, in the white sky, your biggest fears. There are tracks following.
You talented son of a bitch. Talk to me. This is Where the City Ends.
I got emotional there, man. I haven't listened to that in a decade.
Wow.
I couldn't even remember the words, you know? And I can hear my early influences. I can hear the Weaker Thans. I can hear the Watchmen. Like, I can hear the way Danny used to phrase lines and pronounce words, and I could hear it in my voice.
Wow.
So cool, man. Thanks for taking me down memory lane. It's wild.
I cherry-picked a handful of songs, and I was very careful to get them in chronological order. Okay?
Good for you.
Because sometimes I mess that up, and then I hate myself for weeks.
Yeah.
But, Adele, I take this very seriously. You reference Chicago in that song.
Yeah. Yep.
The next song I play is going to be
Second
called
Home.
Chicago. So what is your relationship? We talked about Manitoba. What is your relationship with Chicago exactly?
My best friend is from there, Nick Wells, big baseball fan, and met him in Alberta under weird circumstances, and then he convinced me to go to school there for a year. I studied philosophy, cut my teeth, played every open mic, played 7 nights a week in that city.
Wow.
And just busted my balls trying to learn how to write songs and play guitar, and I go back once or twice a year just to see Nick and his family. You know, we're both dads now, and so we get together and remember like this period of our lives. You know, and he was there from the beginning. He's one of the guys that's just always, he's been a huge music fan, and he always lets me know if something I'm making is good or bad. You know, he's the guy that vets all my stuff, and yeah, one of my best friends. And so Chicago just always calling me back, and especially North Side Chicago. Yeah,
Cubs country.
Cubs country. That's right. Small ball.
When did you realize you wanted to be a musician? Like, when in your life do you have that? Do you have an epiphany, or
No.
what happens for you?
Had no epiphany. Had no, never intentionally decided to do it. Never.
You
I
just
never,
slipped and fell
no.
into an open mic.
I just like doing it, and it trickled into a job. It's a stupid job to want. You got to be a little bit egotistical to think that this could work out.
And you need a good voice.
You need a voice. I mean, there's lots of people with terrible voices that write great songs too, you know. And my voice is
Be
getting
nice
worse
about
every
Neil
day.
Young. I'm a big fan.
Hey, I didn't say that.
I hear, like, I can hear too. I can maybe it's just whenever I hear harmonicas, I'm hearing some Neil Young.
No way, man. I'm a huge Neil Young fan. You can't not be if you're from where I'm from.
No. Well, we, you know what? That's the thing about Neil. We both claim him, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
they claim him in the Kawarthas here in Ontario.
Yeah.
They claim him in Winnipeg.
Mhm. He went to high school at Kelvin High School in Winnipeg, and that's why we get our claim to fame. His dad was a writer for the Winnipeg Free Press, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I've seen him play a number of times, and I will go see him whenever I can. Big fan. So if anyone out there hates Neil Young, you can just
No, if they hate Neil Young, you can just unsubscribe,
that's
please.
right.
I don't want
Yeah,
you listening to
I
Toronto.
don't want you
Night.
to listen to my records either. Well, that's not true.
Well,
I need all the help I can get.
don't worry. There's not many people who hate Neil Young, but I joke. Okay, so what era? Like I'm trying to understand. So that album, that's actually from Where the City Ends. So that's a song, self-titled album.
Mhm.
Where are we in the world here? 20. Give me a vibe. 2010.
I think that
Where
came
are
out
we?
in 2010. Yep. It was either 2009 or 2010 to my best recollection, and I could be wrong, but it's right in there.
And that's an independent release. Like you
Completely independent. And I put out 2 records before that. I was touring the States, and these records were just like recorded with a microphone in a basement somewhere before we could even really digitally record multi-track without, it wasn't on a computer. It was on like a multi-track device. I would burn the CD off of it, and I would tour, like play frat parties in the States and laundromats and church basements. And I was obsessed with guys like Jack Kerouac, and I just wanted to drive around the country and see the world. I took jobs everywhere and just wrote songs, played music, I was playing like 250 shows a year, before I moved to Chicago.
Well, that's called experience, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then you have something to write about.
Well, that's always been the thing for me, is that these first records that you're mentioning, I did, I was in my 20s, and it was hard to not think that my emotions mattered more than they did. And it took me a few records to start to really figure out what I was writing about and who I wanted to write about, and tried to get away from writing about myself. The world's heard a lot of middle-class white dudes whining about their lives, and I'm like, more and more as these records go by, you can hear me sort of trying to not be that voice anymore. But I really liked that song. I haven't listened to it so long. It was just a cool
I love that
description
song.
of a city at night. I really got into it. It sounded not bad either.
Well, here's the thing.
It's
So
cool.
sometimes I do this and I'll fade down after like 30 seconds and we'll just talk over it. But I actually was unable to fade down. I knew when I wanted to fade down, but it's like we need to hear more of this. Just immerse ourselves in this. So that song references Chicago, and now I'm gonna play a song from. I'm going to play a song for the next release, Love Songs for the Last 20.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll just sort of kind of get you to current time. And then I know you brought a guitar. So like at some point when I get you to current time, I do have one song loaded up from the new album, but maybe if
Great.
you want to play, it'll be cool. That'd be
Well,
cool.
yeah. Sure, if you want me to, I will. of
Jason, is he
course.
allowed to play live here in Toronto Mike's basement?
Jason's not the boss of me, man.
That's not what he told
but
me,
Jason,
Del.
is it cool if I do it?
Jason, you okay with that? Okay, so let's get to the next jam and then keep talking about Del Barber. And the beer is tasty. I'm feeling good.
Good. It's really nice beer, nice and cold.
Woo.
Yeah, thank you.
She's got his name written down. She even knows the size of his shoes and all the flavors that he chews. Her concrete eyes are waiting for him now. But he left her in his dust too many times. Now she's raining her Midwestern tears, clouds covering her ears. She wonders why he left it all behind. He's not in love with you. He loves the northern prairie wind and all the rivers that tie him in. He won't be here to dry your tears, and maybe he won't be.
Who's the other voice I hear in the mix there? There's a woman voice?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Her name's Nadine Cloak now. And we were in love a long time ago, and now we're just really good friends. It took a little bit between, you know how that goes, but we had her back on this new record we just made, and it's been a long time since we got to sing together.
Oh, so she's on Almanac.
She's on Almanac, yeah. Wow. It's really cool to get her back in the mix.
Because your voices are just sort of like dancing there.
Yeah, you could tell we had feelings for each other. You know, it was a really cool thing, and I just always, our voices just always made sense together, for sure.
I see you won, and I need to understand what this means, okay? So pardon my ignorance, but Western Canadian Music Awards.
You're right, yeah. They're a really big deal. No.
Well, they might be. Like, what do I know, right?
No, I mean, for us, it's a big deal.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's your community basically gets together and says, these are the records that matter this year, and I've won a whole pile of them through the years. And this was my first ever Juno nomination as well.
Well, yeah, let's not bury that lead. Okay, so this album again.
I thought maybe we were going to forget all about it.
No, never. Are you kidding me? I want to know who the hell beat you. But before you tell me who beat you, the album is Love Songs for the Last 20. It got nominated for Roots and Traditional Album of the Year, solo. Who beat you?
No idea. I don't remember. I have no idea. I have no idea who was nominated. Yeah.
Did you attend these 2011 Juno Awards? Where were they?
It's possible they were in Hamilton that year.
Okay. Like the old, whatever they call it now, Cops Coliseum? Is that where they have it?
Hard to say. I've been to so many Junos, and they all they're soaked with beer, and I don't really remember where they were, and it's a pretty big headache, and it's also a lot of fun, but it's, you know, the music industry all convenes in one place, and it's pretty hard to navigate, you know.
So you, like, if I understand, you win these these Western Canadian Music Awards. You win them. You have a plethora of them just littered around your like estate in
that's right.
rural Manitoba. But no, do you ever won a Juno?
No. I'm a 3-time loser.
3-time loser.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to do something about that. I'll make some calls. I have connections at...
Anything you could do, man.
Because that's bullshit, Del.
No, it's just an honor to be nominated, man. Yeah.
They're making you say that. Okay. All right, so where are we now in your career trajectory? Like, any fun facts? So here we are. We have Love Songs for the Last 20. That song we heard is called Chicago, because all Del sings about is Chicago, if you haven't caught on by now. Just kidding.
Yeah, that song's actually just another one I haven't listened to in so long, and that was a song I wrote about leaving, and I'd been like coming and going from Chicago, like touring so hard, and finally just been like had enough of that city. Just like I needed to get home, and then that was sort of the moment where I started to build a life on the Canadian prairie. So like really put roots back in, you know. So that is the song that started that transition back.
Good. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
Because, there's Neil Young, although I hear he's hanging around the Kawarthas these days. You might, because Freddie P from Humble and Fred, I produce his podcast, and he's got a trailer on a Lovesick Lake or something, which is like in the Kawarthas, not far from Peterborough or something. And he says that there's like a lot of Neil and Daryl Hannah.
Wow.
That's a couple, right? Well, they're married, I think, but they're like spotted at restaurants, and I think he's hanging around here a lot. But famously, of course, he had the ranch or whatever in the States, and too many of our talented musicians end up in the USA.
Yeah, I mean, what a strange country to want to live in right now. I don't blame them for coming to the Kawarthas. Canada's a pretty damn fine place to live. I mean, obviously, we got our issues, but, if you want to compare it to Big Brother, it's pretty nice over here.
Yeah, you stay here.
And I say that as I'm a dual citizen. My whole family's from Wisconsin, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet. Any thoughts on that?
They can have him. I mean, I was a fan. Don't get me wrong. And I am a.
He only delivered one title. Okay, I mean, Brett Favre only delivered one title, but
one title's still pretty damn good.
It's better than 0.
Yeah, it's a lot more than 0.
But you'd think Aaron Rodgers, being of his talent level, you'd think he would have won more than one Super Bowl. But, Tom Brady kept getting in the way. I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, just apples and oranges there, unfortunately.
I'm going to play one of my favorite Del Barber songs. Are you ready? You sitting down?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is one of my favorite Del Barber songs, too.
She was tall and always tired. She worked the late shift, the all-night diner. Years can fly by you in a place like this, waiting for a perfect man and a perfect kiss. Coffee cups, eggs and sausage, steady hands, friendly smiles hold her hostage. She traded her 20s for a job that never promised more. Her dreams, they fell asleep on the top bunk and woke up on the floor. There ain't no good fight, ain't no heroes, ain't no bad man out to get you. There's just a tough job that'll swallow you in the darkness of another day.
The Waitress.
The Waitress.
Grew up in the West.
This is a true story of an actual waitress.
True story. Yep. You want to hear it?
Yes, of course.
So, this song is sort of what changed everything. I stopped writing about myself at this point. I was in just an hour east of Calgary, this town called Strathmore, Alberta. Okay? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. The only place open is the Husky House 24-hour truck stop restaurant. And I'm feeling particularly blue. You can picture me, 200 shows a year. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm going. I'm lost. And I'm tired of it at that point. And once in a while, that feeling is great in life. But it was at the point where I needed something else to happen. And I remember just coming completely unglued, bawling in front of this waitress at the Husky House. I told her everything I'd ever done wrong, I admitted it all. It was like going to confession, And I had tried, I don't know who I am spiritually or anything at this point. I still don't know, and that doesn't matter as much to me now. But at that point, I was flirting with all kinds of different stuff. I remember trying to confess my sins to the old white dudes that wear the collars, and I'd go in there and I would say the stuff, and it just never seemed like it would take, It was always just like not quite there, and then I fell apart on this old waitress, and I told her everything. She pulled out a chair, she poured herself a cup of coffee, and she gave me her story, and it made mine look like the smallest potatoes you've ever grown in your garden,
Right.
And it was medicine. It put everything into perspective. I'm not as important as I think. My feelings are not that bad. My life's pretty damn good. I have a family. I have and this was just a small section. This is like as many of her words from that night as I could write down after. And I remember the most beautiful part of that night. It was like dawn was coming in. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and the sky was just starting to get a little bit of light in it. And we wandered up behind the truck stop. And she had all these pieces of fat and gristle in one of those big stainless steel kitchen chafing dishes. And she started throwing pieces of fat and gristle just right where the street light line ended. And you could hear her scurrying at first. And then after a while, you could see the coyotes, And then within 10 minutes, she had these wild dogs eating out of her hand, And it was just like, I got to write about people like this.
Yeah.
Never mind my feelings. Never mind my experience. I want to be a documenter of characters like this. I need to figure out how to write that way. And so that's when that started, and that's when I felt like I finally became a writer,
Well, Well, The Waitress is a fantastic song, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that song. I need to play it more. It's been a while.
Headwaters is the name of that album.
Yeah.
Once again, Del Barber wins the Roots Solo Recording of the Year at the Western Canadian Music Awards. Like, where do you keep your Western Canadian Music Awards? Do you have a trophy room or what?
I think my mom has them all in a box, if I'm being honest.
In a box?
Yeah.
Polish those off and put them on display. Like, they're at least conversation pieces.
Yeah, that's true. They just don't do much for me, you know?
What do they look like? Can I ask what they...
They look like silly awards do. I don't know. Like they try really hard to make them cool, and all awards like Junos, Oscars, all that stuff. It's like little statues of strange looking creatures. I don't know. It's a weird thing to.
But you're not proud of these?
I'm proud. I'm proud to like make records and sing songs for people for sure. And I wish that in the moments back then it was a really big deal to me, to be honest. Okay. And it wasn't like I'd go brag about it, but like it'd bring me to tears to know that people were listening and that thought I deserved such credit, you know. And so and that was big. But in terms of looking at them and them giving me any desire to keep doing it doesn't come from there, you know.
Well, there are many artists who believe you can't rank art. Like, you can't give awards for art.
Yeah. And
you're a true artist.
Maybe.
Are you?
We need a judge and jury on board to decide.
All right, how about let me ask you this then? Yeah. Okay. If McDonald's calls you up today, would they call you or Jason? Who gets that call?
Hopefully not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jason gets a call from McDonald's and they're like, we were just listening to Toronto Mike and we heard The Waitress. We want to do a campaign about like how we're using all Alberta beef or something like that. And I can kind of see it in my mind's eye here. Yeah. And then there's that sound you have, right? It's got that slide guitar. Yeah. It's like we want you to write a McDonald's song. You know, we're going to pay you, and I'm going to make up the numbers here, but we're going to pay you 60,000 Canadian dollars to write the song for us. Okay, I'm making all this shit up.
Yeah, it's small
obviously.
fortune. Yeah.
60,000. I didn't want to make the number too high. Like,
it's got to be
interesting
realistic,
here.
Yeah.
So Del Barber, when Jason presents this to you, what do you say?
McDonald's, eh?
McDonald's.
Does anyone have to know that I wrote it?
Well, you know, it's not going to be hidden or whatever. It's not like you can use a pen name. You know, you can't say this was Fred Penner writing this song. Okay? This is Del Barber writing this song.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, the nice part is that it's just not going to happen. You know,
you don't have to worry about these
things. There's so many things like that in my life are just not realistic.
But what is realistic? So that one, you're right. Okay, that one, maybe you don't have to worry about that. You'll cross that bridge when you find it.
I'd call my wife and she'd be like, you're writing that damn song and you're writing it tomorrow and it's going to be your best song ever.
Okay, what if they just want to license an existing song? Okay, you've already written, let's say The Waitress, okay? You've already written this and it already comes from, you know, you're a true artist, it comes from the heart. But they're like, we want to use this in a campaign.
I'd probably let them. Like, I would have a hard time not wanting more people to hear my music on some level. Even if it gets bastardized. I would probably regret it. And I could feel that regret creeping in, but it would be really hard for me to say no. I want all of our great artists. I want them to have as much reach as possible, and I want that for my friends. And I wouldn't feel bad if some of my pals did that. You know, I would congratulate them. So I don't know. It would be a tough call, though. You know.
Well, to bring it back to the great Neil Young, I also love Neil Young.
What if McDonald's gave me free food for life? Then I would do it for sure. That would be
that
no-brainer.
Would be worth more than 60,000.
Oh yeah, that's a couple hundred.
I feel like Homer Simpson. Like, you can use money to buy food. Okay. But like Neil Young in the 80s, he famously put out a video called "This Note's for You." Okay, and in this video, he chastised musicians for selling out. Okay, so he made fun of Michael Jackson, who sold out to Pepsi. Yep. You've seen this video likely. Yep. Okay. And I feel like that's sort of like unfair because Neil Young had sold how many millions of albums by that point? Like Neil Young didn't need the money from Pepsi or Coke. Ain't singing for Pepsi, ain't singing for Coke. Yeah. But Del Barber, if he can sing for Pepsi or sing for Coke, I say Del Barber does it because Del Barber needs to eat too.
There was a precedent set. I don't know if she knew she was setting it, but Leslie Feist with the Apple ad.
Yeah, good point.
It was a beautiful ad, but it was for a giant corporation, and
Right.
a lot of people were like, "Come on," and then the rest of us were like, "It's tough out here. Like, no one's selling records." Like, she was doing great, but like,
Right.
I didn't begrudge her at all for that, and you know, I don't know how to be honest about it, because those things are just not realistic for me to see. But yeah, like, I mean, any TV show that wants to use a song,
Like a Netflix show wants to, I don't know, there's
they
like
get it.
a
Like,
ranch show. I
yeah.
can see the ranch, and there's like, I don't
Yeah.
know, there's like dogs trying
Well,
to get
you know,
cows and.
We just got a call from like Hallmark, right? And I'm not like a big Hallmark fan.
Right.
And they said, well, we want to potentially use this song, and I'm like, yeah, let's put it in the TV show, you know. And those things aren't worth much money now. It's like $1,000 or something. But
Is that all? I had no idea what like you'd get if
I
your
mean, it
song's in
depends.
a Hallmark.
it depends. From what I know about it, is that the money has basically disappeared from that end of stuff compared to what it was. I had friends that would get like 30 seconds instrumental music of theirs, like they've removed the vocal from it, in Grey's Anatomy, you know, went back in the day, and they would
Right.
get like 30 or 40 grand, you know.
Oh, you're friends of the chasing cars guys? I feel, or is it the Snow Patrol?
No, it's like everybody would get, all of my friends would get these like just
Amazing.
like little snippets of music on Grey's Anatomy. It was worth a lot of money, but then that money just went further and further down because they just bought our royalties out from us. Like,
Interesting.
because if they want to pay for the amount of people that hear it, they can't afford to take it, so they just give you an offer and say, "Well, you do it for this," you know. So
All right, so we've introduced the subject here, so let's do some monetary real talk here, Del Barber.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you said the sentence, and it's true that no one sells albums anymore. This isn't 1995 or whatever.
yeah,
So you can't make a lot of money. I don't know if you can make any money selling albums anymore. So is it simply you just get a tour like a mofo and hope people buy a T-shirt after they buy their ticket? And like how do you make your bucks as a talented musician?
it's the Del Barber Hat and T-shirt company, and yeah, sell lots of vinyl.
Do you sell these
records.
littlest honky tonk hats?
No, this is my friend. She's Laura. We do a lot of like collaborations in tours now.
Yeah.
She's like a vintage clothing curator, and so she came out to all of our shows in Western Canada and sold like racks of vintage clothes, and just like, you know, trying to make us feel relevant in some way. And yeah, it's cool. We try
So
to
buy
do
swag. Do you
yeah.
sell vinyl? Like
Sell vinyl.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
Because your true fans will buy the vinyl, and that puts more money in your pocket, right?
Totally. Yeah, the vinyl's great, and these are all releases. I mean, the one we just listened to there, just to circle back.
Yeah, Headwaters.
That was
the
the
waitress.
That was the first record where people were providing money to make a record for me. Like, it was, I got signed on with 6 Shooter Records in Toronto, and they funded it. And before then, it was just me scraping together dollars and cents and begging my friends to play on them, and doing as many of the tracks myself. And so now I'm in a position where I'm starting to get grant money, I'm starting to get record label interest, and everything seems like it's going really great, you know. So
Okay, interesting. So who's your champion at 6 Shooter Records at that time?
well, I guess it must have been Shauna. And I also had a really good, like, super bigwig manager at the time, Gilles Paquin. He like managed Randy Bachman and Buffy St. Marie. And we don't work together anymore, but it was a very strange.
Those are big names
good
you just
couple
dropped
years.
there.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love it. Those are huge names.
Yeah, he managed
Wow.
Buffy and Randy and me, and I went absolutely nowhere, and so that failed epically, and of course both 6 Shooter and Paquin have since dropped me, as you know, and that's fine.
Well, you know, yeah. Of course it's fine, but they're
But it's
lost,
just the arc
but,
of a career, you know. You just like try things on and try to work with people, and man, I'm still a big fan of 6 Shooter, and they didn't do me dirty at all. If you know, if I'm gonna say bad things about someone in the industry, it's not them. I'm still a big.
Who are you
fan
gonna say
of what
bad
they do.
words about?
I got a long list, my friend.
Let's hear it. I got time. I'm gonna get a new hard drive just
You know,
for this.
all I want to say about
grievances.
that really is that there's just like a crazy lack of loyalty in an industry where loyalty should be front and center, and I was just really surprised to learn and to be hardened by that later in my middle of my career so far, and hopefully older and wiser now and won't make those mistakes again. But yeah.
Okay, I have a bunch of questions about the release after this one. So,
Yeah.
so things are swimming along. Okay, Headwaters.
Mhm.
This next album, I got questions, but I'm just gonna give you a couple of gifts, and I don't know if you will take this or if Jason will take this, if you share it. I'm just gonna give it to you guys. You guys figure it out.
Cool.
I don't need to know, but I have a wireless speaker
Awesome.
courtesy of Moneris.
Very cool.
And with that wireless speaker, Del, you're going to listen to, this is orders from Toronto Mike, okay? You're going to listen to season 4 of the Yes, We Are Open podcast. This is an award-winning podcast hosted by FOTM Al Grego. By the way, Del, you're like, Mike, why do you keep saying FOTM? What does that mean? You're a friend of Toronto Mike now because I think Jason, he's done enough time on the podcast. Even if he runs out angry, he's still an FOTM, right, Jason? Jason's an FOTM too, but... So you have a wireless speaker to listen to the great podcast. It'll inspire you because Al's been traveling the country talking to small business owners about their perseverance and how they've managed their businesses. And you learn a lot. I just heard one with FOTM Ian Service that was just fantastic. Ontario
cool.
Landscaping Company. So. All right, so not only are you going to listen to that listen to that podcast, but there's another podcast you might want to check out called Life's Undertaking, which is by Brad Jones at Ridley Funeral Home. He's the man who sent over this measuring tape for you, Del. You never know when you got to, you're on the road tour and you got to measure something. Now you got...
Honestly, it's nice to have a measuring tape with you.
Comes in handy. I bet you're a handy guy.
Yeah, I have to be. I mean, I farm part-time now, so I'm always measuring.
You might have to measure the new calf that was born or something. I don't know. Jason, did that make me sound ignorant?
I don't want to get too weird on you, but this is the type
weird.
of measuring tape. Can you hear it? This is the type of measuring tape we use to measure the testicle size of bulls.
I've always wondered what you used to measure the testicle size of bulls.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want to know if your bull's a breeder, you want to have a certain
amount
of
balls for that.
Yeah, you need a certain amount of centimeters.
So there's a correlation between testicle size of a bull and how much offspring come out and play they can produce.
Yeah, it's basically, a sign of virility in beef cattle to know that they're going to be a certain size.
Is that true for humans too?
I don't know. I can't speak to that. I think some doctors should call in and let us know what they think. I can't speak in outside of school,
I did father 4 children before I got a vasectomy, probably because I have massive balls.
Right. Did you your vasectomy, did you get that in a back alley in Toronto? Did you get it? Where'd you get it?
Yeah, I got it in a back alley.
It's outside the Horseshoe.
You ever heard of Graffiti Alley? We got that. This guy had a scalpel back there.
I got to get one of those. That's gonna happen.
Have you fathered any children, Del Barber?
I've fathered 2,
and you're done.
My partner Halen says I'm done. Yeah.
How old are these children?
Farley, my youngest, is 1, and my daughter Guthrie is 5.
I don't sound. This is gonna sound horrible, but for me, I was like, I knew I was done after the 4th, and I'm like, I need that 4th to get to a certain age, so I know I don't have to replace them. Like,
right? Yeah,
that's a terrible thought, I know, but I'm like, you know
just
what?
Being honest.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
So it's like I waited for my youngest to get 3 or 4 years old. Oh, they're gonna stick around. I don't need to replace this one. I can shut down the store.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. I love our segue from Ridley Funeral Home to Testicle Talk.
Yeah.
Which would be a good podcast. You and I could do
Testicle Talk.
Testicle
with
Talk.
Del and Mike. Late night. Midnight.
The lovely thing. You can listen whenever you want. Late
Sponsored
night.
by, I don't know.
We'll work on that later.
Hey,
okay.
Can I open this one too?
Okay, on the mic though.
Yeah,
Thank you, Great Lakes.
Yeah.
I know, I'm being
Thanks,
very...
Great Lakes. This is a really delicious beer, and it tastes so good. It tastes like another, as they say.
Canuck Pale Ale number 2 going down the hatch there.
Yep.
You know what pairs nicely with Great Lakes beer is the authentic Italian food you get at Palma Pasta. So I do have, and now this is where it gets awkward. So you're in town.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly brought you to the GTA, Del?
Well, I'm playing music in town tomorrow.
You play music?
Yeah, I'm playing music. Don't just measure testicles. I play music, and we're playing at the Dakota Tavern tomorrow night. My record comes out tomorrow. So we're here in Toronto to celebrate that release tomorrow night.
Okay, so Almanac comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's just because people don't always listen on the day I drop it. But April 28, 2023.
Exactly.
Almanac drops. And that's also the date where you're playing the Dakota Tavern.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? We try to make it work that way.
So, are you kidding me? That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so more on Almanac later because I pulled a jam, and you might take out that guitar here. You didn't know this was a 4-hour episode when Jason said you can drop by Toronto Mike's Space.
I got nothing better to do. No one cares about me in Toronto, so it's perfect. I'm glad you care.
You know what? Toronto has some kind of, I feel maybe it's my fault, but there seems to be a little anti-country music snobbery going on in this big city. Like, so, you sense it when you're here. Like, they think we're all like slack-jawed yokels.
Yeah, and there's people that think country music can't be intellectual or something, and I think that could be further from the truth.
How do you? I don't want to stick in a genre box, but like what? Like I would think you're alt country.
I would hope that people would consider me alt country or roots music. I love the term roots music. I wish it would get used in the States. And like everyone's calling what I do Americana. I'm like, I don't know
which
what
is a
that
misnomer.
means. Doesn't make
You're
any
in
sense.
Winnipeg, for God's sakes. Or you're in Manitoba.
Yeah. But like I think roots music is a cool term, and I think it can encapsulate all this stuff and whatever.
And I mean, these awards you're winning from the Western Canadian Music Awards are Roots Solo Recording of the Year, so they've embraced that term there for sure. But when I think of alt country, I once a year I kick out with Dave Hodge, we kick out his favorite songs of the year.
Cool.
His 100 favorite songs. And I will be disappointed, and I will let him know there better be a song from Almanac on his 2020.
Yeah, you let him know.
Because he loves alt country. That's like his jam.
I feel like he would like that record.
Yeah.
He should get it in his hands.
You know, he moved to Grimsby, so it's harder for him. He's not a young man. I'm not saying Dave Hodge is old, but he's in his 70s and he's in Grimsby, so it's tough for him to get like to the Dakota Tavern now on like a Friday night. But he would absolutely love Del Barber. He might already love Del Barber. What do I know?
Well, I'm gonna figure out a way to get this record to him.
Get this record. I have his email address. We'll just
perfect.
share it with Dave Hodge, and then he'll make his top 100, and then I'll have an excuse to play another Almanac jam at the end. So you got your lasagna from Palma Pasta, you got your beer, you got your speaker, you got your measuring tape. You're doing well here. Recyclemyelectronics.ca is where you go if you need to recycle like old tech, old electronics, old devices. You don't put that in the garbage because then it ends up in the landfill, and that's shitty because there's chemicals in there. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. I'll talk about the Moment Lab later. I don't want Jason to think they're in competition with him. They are not. Jason is a gem. He's a great FOTM, and there's room for Jason and the Moment Lab. But okay, here's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
The No Regretskis.
Yeah.
Who is the No Regretskis? Who are the No Regretskis?
Okay. Well, they're just a band that we made up to make a record about hockey.
For True North Records.
For True North Records. Yeah, they put out a couple of records of mine. And
Bernie Finkelstein?
No.
Or was he gone by then?
He was gone, unfortunately. He's a legend. And
now he's just doing Bruce Coburn stuff.
Yeah, I love Bruce Coburn. Grew up on him. Big fan of Bruce.
I saw him at Massey Hall.
I am
18 months ago.
Those records have been a part of my life. I have every record of his on vinyl that was printed on vinyl. Anyway.
Wow.
Neither here nor there, I suppose, but
I love that shit. Like hearing your inspirations, I love hearing.
So we put out a record, got another Juno nomination, Prairiography. It was great. It's like more of a country-ish sounding record, twangier, and then I kept asking to get money from True North to make my next record. I kept asking, I have all these songs. I think this is going to be great. Let's put a record out. Let's do it. And they were just like, the last one, we didn't really sell many copies. And like, always dealing with the same thing. Critically, it was great. People loved it. And then just toured hard and just didn't get the turnouts that everyone wanted. Didn't get to that next level. And so they were very reluctant. And then I just was like so tired of dealing with no's or maybes, reluctance. I sent them just in the middle of the night. I was like, there's no records about hockey in Canada. I was like, okay. Sent them an email, 2:00 in the morning. Next morning, we'll give you $7,500 to make it, which is not a lot of money. It's like, a couple days in the studio. And I was
it
like,
doesn't sound like a lot of money.
Great, let's make it. And I was like, okay, this record's going to be out under the No Regretskis, not Del Barber.
Mm-hmm.
The No Regretskis.
Which is a great name.
Great name, right?
Yeah, I love it.
I love it too. And I love the record. It's like
Dwayne Gretzky, right? But this is the No Regretskis.
It's a scrappy record we made in 2 days in the studio. It was like demoed as many songs as I could about hockey, wrote a couple. There's a bunch that we demoed that didn't make the cut because we didn't have time. Like, Dave Bedini's songs should have been on there. We demoed them and tracked them, but they didn't sound good. It didn't.
I love
work
Bedini,
out.
by the way.
Yeah,
He's
so
great.
do I.
Yeah.
And I wanted that song to make it, and a few other songs, Weaker Thans, didn't make it. But
which Weaker Than song?
It might have been a John K. song.
I feel like that's a solo song, like
it's John K. Sampson's solo record about the Hockey Hall of Fame and the
who did the video for that?
Reggie Leach.
Yeah. And It is Tim Thompson, who's an FOTM. He was known as online as Boundless, but he used to do the montages before. See, in a perfect world, before this Game 5 at the Scotiabank Arena tonight between the Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning, there would be a glorious montage by Tim Thompson. This guy's so good at it, and it would get my heart rate going, and I'd be so fucking pumped, but he's no longer with Rogers, and therefore we will not see Tim Thompson's montage. But he made a great video for that Reggie Leach song you're talking about. And he came over, we kicked it out, and it's fucking great. The John K. Sampson song.
Little known fact, I, along with, I don't know, 30 or 40 friends, delivered the petition to the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Because that was what the video was, right?
Yes, I was in that
recorded
group.
That. You were in that group.
Yes.
Now I have more respect for you.
Proud to stand behind John K. John K. Sampson as he delivered that. I'm such a fan of his writing, and I couldn't agree with that song more. And I was there. I took the opportunity and of course went with some good friends. My buddy JP Ho was there beside me. It was really fun.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Now back to the Regretskis here. And this album, by the way, was called The Puck Drops Here.
Yeah.
And actually, if you don't mind, see, I'm kind of trying to gauge like your feelings on this album because it clearly caused some some issues between you and True North. Like, what was the problem?
Well, the problem was that I didn't want it to come on under my name, and they ended up putting it out under my name. I don't know if it was them and my manager at the time that wanted it to happen. I wanted it to be the No Regretskis.
Right.
And I just wanted it to be this little, because it's kitschy, you know. It's
covers for people who don't know. Like it's like well-known hockey songs, like Stompin' Tom Connor's the hockey song, for example. And there's one I pulled that I think you did a fantastic job on. And I'm not going to play this one, but you saw I tweeted at Mo Berg because he was on the show a couple of weeks ago and he's been over here. And I just said, hey, what do you think of Del Barber's Gretzky Rocks? And so actually maybe now I'll play a bit of this song because it's really, I think it's really good. And then we'll find out more about the dirt behind what went down.
Sounds good.
All right, what will I play? Here we go.
Up at 5, take shots till late, make the thing drive out after school, back on the ice. That was his life, he was gonna play in the big league.
Kind of rocks, right?
I think it's great.
What a song.
Well, it's a great song.
I know.
This is with Red Rider, right? This is Tom Cochrane. Red Rider.
Man, that, you know, if you've never seen that guy play, he will rip you apart. It is insane. It is some of the best. That he's a star for a reason, man.
He's another of those great Manitoba musicians.
Yeah.
But not a Winnipeg guy, right?
He's from Lynn Lake, I think.
I think it's Lynn Lake.
It's up there. Flin Flon, Lynn Lake, somewhere up there. Anyway.
So good, right? Like, just so
I'm
good.
such a fan, dude.
Did he
I don't know if I did any justice to this song at all, but there's no way it had to be on. It had to be on the record.
Yeah, and it's kind of haunting when we think of what happened with the Humboldt bus crash and how he kind of modified. He took the song. I think it was acoustic on TSN, I think, but now. Well, it was always a tragic song. Now it's like, wow. And you did a great job, I'd say. But tell me about the fallout, though. It sounds like you lost your label over this. You lost your agent. Like, give me the lowdown, man.
I don't know what happened. I think they were already done before it, you know, to be honest. like I said, I sent that email in the middle of the night, and they were like, "Yeah, this sounds like a good idea. At least we could sell this." But nobody liked it. Nobody wanted to play it.
They didn't like this.
I mean, I did like
this doesn't exist.
I did like 30 interviews on AM radio with hockey dudes talking about like who I used to skate with and where I play hockey now and what I like about hockey, and I love that. But I couldn't tour it.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
There's like half of these,
and it's not lucrative because you don't own these songs. These are not.
No, I own a couple of
them
them on the record, but yeah, it's not like I didn't plan on touring it. It was just a one-off idea that I was like, I love
$7,500, right?
Yeah, and I mean we use that.
I'll give you $7,500 to make me an album of Toronto Mike songs.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, you got to write those though.
That's okay. That's part of it.
Covers are easier.
Yeah. No, but you know what? I loved making it. It was like the most fun studio experience because we just got in, 3 days, done, recorded as many songs as we could, had a good time, just get friends together, play music. You know, I don't know. It was just so it was like, you know, the type of hockey where you're in the corners. It felt like we were in the corners and our elbows were up. You know, I loved it. Yeah.
Here, since we're talking hockey, and I'm going to play a jam that ties in from the No Regretskis, whatever. I'm calling them the No Regretskis. Okay. What are your thoughts, Del? I want to hear your thoughts on Don Cherry.
Oh man.
You know, you can always tap out on it.
I'm not tapping out.
I don't know if Jason told you, but we don't edit a stitch of this show.
I don't tap out on questions. That ain't me. I grew up with him, and I have very fond memories of hearing him talk about how to play the game. I was an obsessed hockey kid, you know, and hockey was cheap back then. We didn't have a lot of money. I used equipment, and I felt like he was just a Canadian voice, and you know, Ron McLean was there to keep him in between the lines. You know, he would go a little bit too far. He would talk about, you know, the European style of play, and he didn't like it, and that was the one thing where my dad would turn down the TV a little bit. You know, my dad they were pretty left-leaning family. He was the president of the union, and it was like back when the left wing was like working class, and you know, my dad, before he died, started to call the left wing a bunch of yuppies. And so that's kind of where we're from, just like blue collar NDP land in the prairies, you know.
Right.
And so we had time for grit and for direct talk, and Cherry did that. But he slowly became more and more unhinged, and I had a really hard time listening to him by the end of it. And so to say I was a fan to the end is incorrect, but to also, you know, not note that he was pretty influential for me as a young hockey player. I have to say both, you know, just to be honest with people. So,
because one of the thoughts I had, so the last time the Leafs had a run, if we can call it a run, because we made it to the second round. Is that a run?
That's
I don't
a run.
think that's a run. I don't know. But that was
That's
2004, of course, which means after the first intermission, you'd watch the game, the Leafs would beat the Senators as usual, and you'd hear, what does Don have to say? And I'm like you. I got a few years on you, but I grew up with Don Cherry, Ron McLean, Coach's Corner.
Yeah.
That's the first intermission. The funny thing is, like, I can sit here and crap on an old man Cherry or whatever, but I don't actually watch the first intermission anymore. Like when the first period ends, I don't tune in again till the second period starts.
No.
But I watched Don Cherry and Ron McLean.
Me too.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's entertaining as hell.
He was entertaining as hell. I did always have an issue, and a lot of the stuff I was kind of ignorant to, but I always had an issue with the fact that he would, for Patrick Waugh, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Roy.
Of course.
Like the refusal, like, even young Mike was like, why can't he say wah? Like, why does he insist on doing that?
And then you wonder what kind of, that's what I mean when he influenced me as a kid, not necessarily positively all the time.
Right.
You got to wonder how he got away with it for so long. But in terms of being like gregarious and entertaining and direct and sincere. You know, we want sincerity from people, but then when they show us their hand, we're like, no, we don't want you to be sincere. We want you to lie.
Right.
There's a weird thing that happens in society with that too. There's no excuses for behavior like that. He's like a rich old white dude. So, I don't know.
Well, here's a jam, a No Regretskis song, and when I was listening to this the other day, I was thinking, oh yeah, like when the Leafs are up, I don't know, 2-1 in this clinching game tonight. I personally don't listen to Don Cherry's podcast. I realize he's alive and well and he's podcasting.
Yeah.
But it's not in my
Me neither.
universe, so I don't hear what he has to say. But it's interesting that we won't hear Coach's Corner. Here is the No Regret Skis. This is only 30 seconds.
Yeah, I love this one.
One beef I'm going to share with you now, Dill, is
Do
that
it.
he did the false open, which bugged me it always bugged me that. So it'd be like coming up Coach's Corner and you'd get, I don't know what you'd get, but is it an intro? I think an intro. And then you're ready for Coach's Corner. But then there'd be like a commercial, whatever the main sponsor was. It was never Great Lakes beer, but let's say it was Budweiser, whatever
Tim
the hell
Hortons
it
or
was.
something.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then they'd do another intro. So they do the intro. Then they throw you the ad break, and then they throw you the intro. Like, come on, okay. So
Yeah, it wasn't quite slick enough. Seems like they could have done better.
Flame. I never knew the name of that song. Is this the name of it? Flame of Victory?
I guess.
Because that's the name on the No Regret Skis album.
We
That's
would have had to get it licensed to do it, so I'm sure that True North was pissed about jumping through all those hoops too, and so we would have vetted all the titles of these songs.
Who did the Hockey Night theme? Was it the Shuffle Demons? I feel like there was a cover of the Hockey Night theme.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's for the sequel. Okay, so what happened? So True North Records drops you.
Yeah, they dropped me like I was burning their hand. You know.
What do you do next? Now you lost. True North is dropped, and your agent drops you too. That's
So get this, you know.
kind of an agent.
My
does that.
manager at the time dropped me.
Yeah.
So I just buy the farm. I buy a farm. I want to live. I
You
want to
died. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
I want to be Neil Young. So
Right.
I
Get
buy
a
a
ranch.
farm. I get married. I fall in love with this farm girl
Okay.
in Western Manitoba. We buy this farm. Life is good. I got a record deal with True North Records. You know, I'm a Bruce Coburn fan. This is like my dream. This is where I belong. You
Yeah.
know? And I feel like my career is growing. And they won't answer my emails. I got this mortgage payment on this land and this house. Fuck, man. They won't answer my emails. My manager says, worst thing you could have done is bought a farm. You should have stayed in the city. You know, he stops answering my emails.
Wow.
So I sent an email about the hockey record. They're like, yeah, hockey record. Great. Make the hockey record. Crickets after that.
Wow.
Crickets. And then finally, it's like a day before my wedding. Like we bought this farm, like, I don't know, year before that. We get married. I finally get a hold of the guy at True North, and he's like, no, I don't want to put out the next record. And my manager the next day is like, no, I think we're done. Wow. It's like, okay. So I'm basically all alone, and couldn't have been a better thing.
Wow.
But at the time, it felt like my world was ending, you know, and I felt like I'd gotten into something I couldn't get out of, and I had a pile of debt from the decisions that they made. Racked up lines of credit, just spending money on stupid things that I never saw benefit from, and it's just like I just got suckered hard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And of course, they probably have their own side of the story. I know how these things go, and I probably fucked up too. I don't exactly know where or how. But yeah, so now
Wiki, by the way, on Wiki it says that you refuse to promote this album. That's on your Wiki page.
I wonder who put that in there. I have never refused to promote anything. I was on media call. I've refused to tour it. I was like, I can't afford to go and. I mean, I played like Hockey Day in Canada a couple times for Rogers or whatever.
Yeah, Tara Sloan's and Ron McLean show. Is that
And those are
that's
great.
Hometown Hockey.
That's the one.
Okay, that's the
Hometown
one.
Hockey,
Gotcha.
and then I don't remember who owns the theme to Hockey Night in Canada, but we
It was okay. They actually lost it to TSN. It
Yeah.
was Dolores Clayman.
Okay, so we tried to
passed
open
away.
the show
Yeah.
with that song at these events, and
Oh, yeah, they don't have
someone
the rights anymore.
stopped us.
Yeah, you can't
They're
do
like,
that.
no, you can't play it. I'm like,
Because Bell
yes,
Media
you
bought
can.
it.
Doesn't matter who owns it. You can play it. Just pay the mechanical. There's nobody
Right.
watching. It's just a live show. You can play whatever song you want. This is total bullshit. I was like, it's like, okay, like.
I actually understand. They
Whoa,
would stop
whoa,
you. Come on.
Stop the truck.
Even Jason would
I'm
stop
like,
you.
There's 500 people here. That's the only people that are going to hear it. It's going to cost you $30.
So this wasn't going to air?
No, it wouldn't. The songs
Oh,
wouldn't have aired. They would have
okay.
showed a clip of us playing. They wouldn't have heard this anyway.
Because you know why? Because it's embarrassing that they were outbid for this.
It
theme.
is.
They had to get a new theme song because they were outbid by
And the new
TSN.
theme song sucks.
See, this is why you're on. Because Rosie Gray T.O. will listen to this episode and will update Wiki with the true hard facts here.
Well,
so,
yeah, the wiki thing, I don't even get to weigh in. I tried to edit my own Wikipedia. I got a bunch of shit that's wrong on there. And it's like, well, you're not the author of this page. I'm like, well, I'm the guy that did the stuff. So maybe you could let me have a
But it's
chance,
weird how it
you
works
know?
because you can't do that. But if you say the truth on this show, somebody can cite this episode and change it. So it's almost like you have to come on Toronto Mike, talk about what's wrong on the wiki, and then Rosie Gray T.O. can come in and fix it with links to you setting the record
What's
straight.
really cool is that I refuse to promote it. I love that. I love whoever wrote
Well,
that.
I can quote it,
Fuck
actually.
off.
So Wikipedia, as we speak, it might change in a moment. It says, Barber's refusal to promote the album led to tensions between himself and the label. He was subsequently dropped by True North and his agent as a result.
Love it. Well, I was not dropped by my agent. I was dropped by my manager.
Okay.
And I absolutely did everything I could to promote it. How the hell are you supposed to promote a hockey record?
But I still don't understand quite why you wanted it to be the no regret skis. Why not be Del Barber?
Well, it ended up coming out under
I
Del
know,
Barber. But I
you
have this
think-
like folk and country career.
I know, but now, okay.
I mean,
what
I
do
didn't
know?
really
What do
care
I know?
enough at the time to like. I should have fought tooth and nail for no Gretzky's because then it would have been more fun. I
Right.
wouldn't because you know how much shit I got about that record from my fans.
They hated it.
Well, people that don't like hockey are like, "What the hell is this, man? What is
I
this?"
forgot. You said you didn't give a fuck about hockey.
That's
Never
right.
saw someone say that before.
Yes. Well, we've tracked that song too, and it didn't make it either.
Oh, not even. What about 50 Mission Cap? Did
I
you,
love how every song I could think of, I demoed
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that record.
Okay.
You know,
And there's a great Warren Zevon song called "Hit Somebody."
Hit Somebody. We demoed that too.
Do you know who says? Maybe Jason knows. Maybe you know, Del. But in that song, "Hit Somebody," who is saying "Hit Somebody" in that Warren Zevon
I
song?
do not know. Let me know.
You ready for this?
Yeah,
David fucking Letterman.
that's cool.
David Letterman is saying, "Hit somebody."
That's cool.
That is fucking cool. I hear that. Now, it's been worthwhile just for that fun fact. Okay, I just looked at the clock. I need to get you, Del Barber, my new favorite FOTM. I need to get you to Almanac.
Yeah.
And but can you touch on the Kickstarter campaign
Yeah.
for Easy Keeper?
Well, that's right. So I was alone in the wilderness, no record label, no management, and I was like, maybe this is a stupid idea. Like I had mentioned earlier that I never intended to be a songwriter.
Well, you bought a farm, you know.
I know, and
What was the point of that? You got to make money on the farm.
yeah, but like it's a farm. It's an old farmyard. It's not.
But you got animals on there.
Yeah, we got animals on there, but it's not like I'm not farming full time. I farm with my in-laws a little bit when I'm home, but they have like 2,000 acres or something.
But they're not pets, right? Like
No.
people, you're gonna.
No.
These animals will be devoured by some carnivore.
Yeah, they will.
Okay.
They will.
Sorry to interrupt. Back to
No,
the
no.
Kickstarter.
Freezer camp, we call it. Yeah. So yeah.
And you're
so-
measuring balls of bulls, so
Yeah.
there's something going on, some
There's-
transaction.
there's
Unless that's
stuff
for
going on.
sport.
Maybe a little bit of both. You know,
Hey, I don't ask
there's
questions.
not a lot of like culture, diverse culture on the prairies until you start measuring testicles, and then you realize we're in for a treat tonight. You know, they don't enjoy getting their testicles measured either. But I don't know why this always comes to testicle measuring.
Okay,
but
so
yeah,
you were like here. I'm going to tell you a story for you, but you're like, let's make $7,500 so we can make an album, and then like your fans are like, fuck that. How's $23,000?
yeah.
See, I did it in one sentence.
Yeah, they just decided that I was like, maybe there are enough people out here that like what I do that want to fund a record, and they were like, yeah, let's go.
Well, someone's going to be at the Dakota Tavern tomorrow. You think Toronto hates country and Toronto doesn't want anything to do with Del Barber, but is it just
I don't know about
Is it
that,
just Jason
man.
and you at this venue tomorrow?
Oh, Jason won't come. It's too far from home.
yeah.
No, Jason came
That's right.
Jason came to my show in Hamilton.
Okay,
He was
at Hamilton show.
he was way more keen. He helped
I hope
out.
Dave Hodge is there. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let me know if. By the way, Dave Hodge, of course, was the original guy with Don Cherry on Coach's Corner
Yeah.
before Ron McLean took his
Yeah.
spot because he got, he left because he flipped a pen. There is actually a Toronto Mic'd episode. It's a mickumentary with different people who were there, including Dave Hodge, who break down in great detail the infamous Dave Hodge pen flip.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of shit that happens here. Okay, so you made this album on a Kickstarter money,
Yes.
Easy Keeper.
Yes.
Okay.
Easy keeper.
Easy
keeper.
Easy
yeah.
Keeper.
Which is a great term in the prairies if you do have animals that are that take no effort or spirit to keep alive. They're just they eat less, they're easy to be around, and that's the kind of person I've been trying to learn how to be. It's just somebody that's easy to have around, that doesn't drink all your beer. Apologies. And then you know what I mean?
We are my guests.
Yeah. But
drink away.
we appreciate the beer. It's so nice to come and hang out with you and drink beer. That's good. Yeah.
What was your Juno Award for Contemporary Roots Album of the Year in 2020? Which album was that for?
That would have been for Easy Keeper.
Easy Keeper.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I go to my fans. I didn't really know I had any. Sent out emails, did the social media thing, asked for money. They were like, "Yep, no problem." Gave me money to make a record.
Here's $23,000.
Made a record with $23,000. Promoted it, toured it as much as I could before the pandemic. And the industry also said, "Yeah, you are good. We like you. Here's another Juno nod." And I was shocked at that. I thought after I lost the label, a different, littler label came on board in Toronto, of all places.
Well, name check it. Unless you don't want to.
Of course I do. I'm still working with them, and they've been the greatest label to work with I've worked with yet. I think Six Shooter would have been great too if I didn't have a big bad manager on my team, because I think if I would have been actually connected to those people at Six Shooter, those amazingly strong, fierce women, I would have probably figured out a way to be their friend forever. But yeah, Acronym Records in Toronto, it's distributed by Universal. It's great relationship. One guy runs the place, Tony Tarleton, and he hand delivered all my vinyl to the studio I'm staying at in Toronto this morning. So it's pretty cool. He's just a hell of a guy, and that's the kind of guy I want to work with. Definitely an easy keeper. So
amazing. Now I what's between Easy Keeper and Almanac, which we're going to talk about right now? Is Stray Dogs?
Stray Dogs.
Collected B-sides, Volume 1.
Yeah, I mean everybody who makes music knows that we I'm writing all the time. I've got tons of ideas on the go, voice notes, journals, demos, and so the pandemic happened and I had all this time. It was like forced sabbatical. It was the greatest time of my life. I didn't enjoy anything more. And I live in a place where a pandemic is perfect. We got a big garden. We had everything everybody wants.
I should have come in and lived with you for a couple of years.
We got a bunch of nice vintage road bicycles you could have jumped on.
I love biking.
I got a bunch of Marinonis and.
Do you bike?
Yeah, I do. I have my favorite bike right now is this Surly 29er I got.
See, I don't even know what that means.
Well,
but
Surly is just a brand of steel frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a hybrid. My go-to bike ride is on a single speed. It's called a Fuji Feather.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 speed. I love it. But I had a hybrid bike that I literally in February 2020, so this is over 3 years ago, I needed a part and I couldn't get it.
Yeah,
and
but you couldn't.
I actually got it. I picked it up today. 3 years to source out the parts to fix this hybrid. I know, but when I think back, I waited over 3 years for a part to fix my fucking bicycle. That's why I bought the Fuji Feather, because I needed to tie myself. I didn't know when that part would come in.
What
anyway,
was the
I picked
part?
it up
Do you
today.
remember?
Yeah, it's the crankshaft. That's not the bike, actually. That's the Fuji Feather. But my bike's in the shed. But yeah, there was some once in a generation shortage of bike parts.
Yeah.
So fuck
Oh,
that.
it's the Suez Canal. There's a boat stuck.
Yeah,
in the canal.
that's right. I always think whenever I think of those bins or whatever.
Yeah.
I think of
sea cans. Yeah.
season 2 of The Wire.
Oh yeah,
That's what
it's great season. The only season that sucked on that show is season 5.
Well, 5 is the worst of the seasons, but I don't know if I'd say sucked, but I did not like the serial killer storyline was the least plausible in my opinion of the.
I would like to just do a podcast about The Wire.
I would do that. I would do that.
I own the box set. I've watched it more than any other show. I'm that guy that says, "You haven't watched The Wire? What's wrong with you?"
Me too.
Yeah, that's me.
I used to be more annoying about it, but I'm trying not to be that guy as often.
No,
So, 'cause
I'm
it's
with
like-
you.
Otherwise, you seem like some religious guy who's like, "Have you
Exactly.
accepted the Lord and Jesus as your
Evangelism. Yeah.
savior?" But that is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah, me too.
Is the one? Okay, look, I like this guy. Okay, I got to come to Manitoba. I've never been to Manitoba.
Well, you should come. But yeah, we don't want anyone to move there. We like it how it is. You know, we don't
That's
want
okay.
any
I'm
of this.
no risk of that.
That's good. Well, then you're definitely welcome.
I just want to come visit. There's 3 provinces I've yet to be inside of. I've never been in Manitoba. I've never been in Saskatchewan, and I've never been in Newfoundland.
Well,
Fun facts for you. Okay, Almanac.
okay.
Give me, because this will be a 6-hour episode. Give me the like, how did Almanac come to be? Here, let me. You know what? Let me do this. Here, let me do this.
In the washed out light of spring come late, everything that was tied down is teetering. The doors are locked, the lights are off, but the phone still rings. I'm counting sticky cup holder quarters for coffee. Forgot my wallet in a rush for no good reason. If I could just call you now so you could make fun of me. No one wants to hear I told you so. Shut your dirty mouth, I told you so. Some memories won't come clear, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
I hear her again there. Wow.
There she is.
Wow. And you know what?
Our horses
Great fucking song.
getting
Thanks,
old.
man. Yeah, I'm proud of that one.
And this is fresh meat, man. This
Fresh
is
meat.
This
Had to settle on
Yeah, roast beef, buddy.
wow. Okay, so give me the elevator version of, like, I don't know. Tell me about how Almanac came to be, and maybe you'll play something from Almanac.
You
with your
remember
game.
I was talking to you about The Waitress?
Of course.
How that changed how I wrote songs?
Yeah, Headwaters. Of
Well,
course.
this song, I was trying to empathize with my neighbor. She lives a few miles north of my yard. Her name's Debbie, and her husband died in like a tragic tractor wreck. Like, it was crazy.
Oh no.
It shouldn't have happened. And she had all this land, all these horses, all this work, and they did it all together, you know. And then just like that, boom, he was gone. And I was trying to empathize on some level and write that song, you know, and not make it too sad, but and also just little pictures of somebody going through grief, you know. And then right at the same time, my dad got diagnosed with cancer, you know. And so I finished this song, and he was clearly going out. And he's like just excellent sense of humor. We wrote songs together. We were tight. Like, I had a great dad, and you know, I was angry for
I'm
a while.
sorry, man.
No.
That's,
No, I don't want to make it mopey.
No,
But my
man.
dad would say things like, "Well, I'm not going to be buying any more green bananas," you know. Just a great sense of humor, and I get to sing the song every night, and he got to hear it before he left, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience writing songs and then having them become real for you. You know, trying to empathize with somebody and then feeling those things every night. It's cool.
Okay, let's let the song take us home here, and then
Sounds great.
won't disappear. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
So Almanac comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm here with you, man.
This is the launch party.
That's right.
Party of 3, and we got some tasty beer. I got lasagna. Let's go.
Can I just say one thing about Great Lakes Brewing? I know
Of
you
course.
probably pitched them more than you needed to, but this is like the greatest pale ale I've drank in a long time. It's just the perfect amount of hops. I don't like it when they get too sticky.
Right.
This is really crispy, refreshing, just bitter enough. I'm a big fan. So good job over there, Great Lakes Brewing.
And I'll shout out the IPA Burst
Yeah.
that I'm enjoying, which is
Nice.
delicious. And I know Jason cracked open a Burst. And unfortunately for you Manitobans,
Manitobans.
I almost gave you the Manitobians.
That's all right. That's
Okay.
that's like what people from the States call us. Yeah. Yeah.
You can only get Great Lakes beer in Ontario,
Yeah.
so I would consider moving to Ontario just for the Great
I
Lakes
might just
beer.
put a case in the Thule roof rack in the van, bring some home.
I love Jason Schneider. I told him this to his face many times. He's been over
I'm a fan as
several
well.
times, but so Jason's the man. But I also, because they are also good friends of mine, I want to shout out the Moment Lab. So if you want to give your business a boost, don't wait any longer. Let me introduce you to Matt and Jared at the Moment Lab today and learn how they can help you achieve your public relations goals. Shout out to the Moment Lab. Shout out to Jason
Jason Schneider.
Jason Schneider. How many beers have you had, Mike? Jason Schneider for bringing the great Del Barber into my life. Del, it's up to you. Your call. I would love it, but I don't want to put any extra pressure on you. Do you want to play something live?
Oh, I certainly can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't hit your head.
It's not hard.
Okay. This is your job. Don't hit your head. It's not hard. It's like asking him to measure somebody's balls. Like that's his fucking job.
This job is easy compared to the rest of them. Playing music is
Wow.
no big deal. I don't really
just-
know what I'm gonna play and how it's gonna sound.
Well, now you can't play "I Told You So," so I hope. But I will say one thing about "I Told You So." So when I listened to it for the first time, I caught myself singing along to it, and it's very, very rare that I find myself singing along to a song I'm listening to for the first time.
That's
like,
a trick.
Yeah, like that's so. We can do okay. So I have a couple. Let me do this.
Yeah. Give me one more
Let me
mic.
open that up.
That would be awesome.
Okay, here, and I'm not it yet.
No, that's good. This is
there?
awesome. That's perfect.
So now you got one for your vocals, one for your guitar. Let me
Great.
hear something.
Yeah, let me get that at 12. That's perfect. That compressor's hitting it kind of hard, but should be good. Cool. Let's try something. You ready for it?
I'm so fucking ready. Let's
All
go.
This is what I feel like playing, so this is what I'm playing. Caught the news tonight. Lately it's always the same. A couple idiots running for president. They're passing out the blame. Dear apathy, you never look good on me. Tonight I'm wishing for a nice way to ask you to leave. I went out driving with my good buddy Shane down in Tennessee. I passed the Baptist church with the gates locked tight all week except for Sunday. Dear irony, you've been such a good friend to me. Tonight I'm wishing for a nice way to ask you to leave. A dream that I saw God on a Tuesday in the grocery store buying tomatoes, wearing their favorite pair of jeans. I watched them reach into their pocket, pull out a faded note with their favorite poem. This is just to say, I crack another beer, watch that big moon rise, hear the coyotes yip, the cattle bawl, and my baby girl cry. Good night, nostalgia. Would you get out of my way? Lately I've been leaning on you through the darkness and into the day. A dream that I saw God on a Tuesday in the grocery store buying tomatoes, wearing their favorite pair of jeans. Watch them reach into their pocket, pull out a faded note with their favorite poem. This is just to say, I know the guy doesn't need reminding, but even God Almighty loves a good memory. Yes, even God Almighty loves a good memory.
I'm speechless. That was fucking great.
Hey, thanks,
Honestly,
man.
you're so damn talented.
Thank you.
Holy smokes. Okay. You
So
could
are
write-
you.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
You haven't heard me sing yet. Come on.
When is your record coming out?
Jason, can you help me promote this new album
Yeah,
I'm
he
working
can.
on? Yes, guy. No. Del Barber. Chris Cooksey's like, what's a Del Barber? I'm like, you listen to. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks, Jason. He's like, I'm like, you listen to episode 1,244. You're going to hear
That's all
everything
you
going
got,
out.
eh? Only
I thoroughly enjoyed this. So what's
1,244.
next? You're going to play the Dakota Tavern, and then what happens next in the world of Del Barber?
I mean, we're in the middle of a 30-show coast-to-coast tour, and we were talking to Jason this morning, and he's like, no one does that anymore. I was like, well,
Because it's pricey, right?
I don't know. People, it's just, it's ambitious, and people are worried about getting sick and canceling, and
Oh,
sure,
right.
I get it. But, like, for me, I make a record. I want to hit the road. I want to play shows. It's just what I've always done. And so, yeah, I'm on the road. I'm in the middle of it. Heading to the East Coast. We were in Vancouver like a week ago. Shows every night, pretty much. We did 9 in a row last week. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you want to shout out your is it delbarber.com?
Yeah, definitely. Delbarber.com. We just put a bunch of new hats and T-shirts on there, and tote bag, all kinds of stuff.
And people should support you by buying like all their clothes from the delbarber.com
I don't
clothes store.
buy the record, and I'll send it to you, and I'll write you a note, and I'll throw in some
Amazing.
extra stuff. Yeah, it would be cool.
You know,
Really
John K. Sampson was in Propagandy.
yeah, I'm a big fan, man.
Yeah, you should be. And Ron Hawkins, every time he plays live in this basement from Lowest to Low, Ron Hawkins has that Propagandy sticker on his guitar. And I close every episode with a song from Lowest of the Low's Shakespeare My
awesome.
Butt. And I'm thinking at some point I'll end up closing every episode with a song from Del Barber, because you're fucking great, man.
Well, I'm gonna send a few people your way to listen to this episode, and they're gonna start listening to you more because
Should I have recorded this? 'Cause
No, you didn't have to. It's fine.
That was a
I got
private
2 free
chat.
beers out of it. It's great.
I just wanted a private performance in my basement from Del Barber. I didn't even think to record this, but you were great. Good luck tomorrow night at the
Thanks, man.
Dakota Tavern. People
you.
should go to delbarber.com. Go Jets and Leafs.
Go Leafs.
Go Leafs, go. I mean, well, the
No
Leafs-
one's ever heard me say that.
Is that right?
That's the first time.
You're just trying to make me feel good because we had a nice chat.
I wouldn't mind if they clinch tonight. So
I think it's happening tonight. I mean, look at Jason for a moment. Jason, are the Leafs going to clinch tonight? Oh, they better.
Yeah,
Or what?
they will.
Or what, Jason? You're going to rough up Brendan Shanahan?
Talking to a Habs fan, Mike.
Oh,
my
get
man.
out of my fucking basement, Jason Habs fan. Get out of here.
go Jets.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,244th show. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Is it at Del Barber?
Yeah.
You got that.
Yeah,
There's
man.
no other Del Barbers out there. Good for you, man. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Monaris is at Monaris. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. The Moment Lab are at The Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH. Tomorrow, joining me live in the TMDS basement studio here is a gentleman named Sean Menard, and he directed the new Much Music documentary. And I've got like 100 questions for this guy, so he's going to sit down.
cool.
He's going to be on the hot seat here. Like, where the hell was Terry David Mulligan? Where's Master T? I'm going to get all my answers tomorrow. So, Sean Menard on Toronto Mike tomorrow. See you all then.
Maybe the one who's at I play this guitar just the best that I can. Maybe I'm not and maybe I am. Who gives a damn, because everything is coming up rosy and green. Yeah, the wind is cold, but the smell of snow warms me today. And your smile is fine, and it's just like mine, and it won't go away. 'Cause everything is rosy and gray. Well, I've kissed you in France, and I've kissed you in Spain, and I've kissed you in places I better not name. And I've seen the sun go down on Sacré-Cœur, but I like it much better